Veteran Salute is sponsored by the DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers.
A Newton veteran says when he started at Boeing, his team was working on the two-wing Stearman plane. Then they moved on to the B-17 and finally the B-29.
As Gwen Bevel and photojournalist Nick Kiefer show us, he went on to make quite the mark in metal finishing for the U.S. Navy.
Byron Brittain says the Navy realized how important it was to train the next generation of fleet maintenance in all things metal finishing, and he was the one who made it happen.
Rescue boat, so to speak, and water training.
Although that may have been this young sailor's job in boot camp, his first assignment landed him in Norman, Oklahoma.
That's a landlocked base.
Byron Brittain says he was taken to a hangar.
I was told this is the plating shop and there's your equipment. So tell us what you need to build this plating shop.
So that's what he did, but his duties went far above that.
I wrote the first training manual, and so my legacy to the war effort was that I established a plating course for fleet personnel in metal finishing.
Brittain also worked as a civilian helping the future of fleet maintenance, and his contributions to those in service continued out of the shop and onto the stage.
Here I am.
Brittain was the baritone in a barbershop quartet for more than 2 decades.
For a little while we were entertaining them. We were trying to brighten up their day.
The group did a USO tour overseas during the Vietnam era.
That was an experience that when I see anybody that served in Vietnam, I take my hat off to them, because those guys they went through some bad stuff.
He says they tried to track down all those from Kansas they could, and would even call their parents to let them know how they were doing.
That was as much an effort for the war effort that I did, that had some influence on a lot of little kids.
It's safe to say Brittain had an influence on many young lives, from his days of teaching the basics of metal finishing all the way to the war zone. He's seen a lot in his years, a century in fact, as he recently celebrated a big birthday.
I was 100 years old.
And at a party thrown by his family, there were some special guests who wear uniforms he's quite familiar with. Brittain is an avid golfer and just recently fulfilled a lifelong wish by playing with his 3 sons and grandsons. He said they played 6 holes that day. He's also a pilot and flew the quartet he sang with all over this country. Here for you, Gwen Bevel, KSN News 3.
Tonight, we salute Byron Brittain for his service in World War II.
On behalf of DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers, we're honored to be here with Byron Brittain. Byron is a World War II veteran and was with the United States Navy. Byron, we're so thankful for your service and honored to recognize you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Veteran Salute is sponsored by the DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers.